she would have been incredibly nervous. And then, of course, she would have been aware of the first couple of blows to her. There were defensive wounds to her hands, so she's clearly tried to protect herself at some point. So she wasn't killed instantaneously, and her last moments were spent in fear.
After Debbie died and after people began to come out of shock, there was a very strong feeling amongst the Rotary wives that they would like to do something in her memory. And one of them, who was a professional photographer, had started to take photographs of Debbie Walk, that kind of named her that. And one of the other wives is a beautiful landscape watercolour painter. And so she chose the three views of the church from the photographs that had been taken, and she painted three lovely watercolours of them. And so it starts just as Debbie's Walk did, with the lane from the main road, and then across the little lane to the church, and that's the view you get from the main road, and as you walk towards it. And the central one was from just opposite the church, and the gate entrance there. They were chosen because the church is set in meadowland beside the River Dove, and it was the area that Debbie so much loved.
Bond, after serving his minimum sentence, is fully entitled to life parole. Fortunately, the parole panel refused to give him parole or send him to an open prison based on information that they got at that time. In my view, having met Bond, I would be extremely concerned should he be released back into society.
It was an awful crime. It was a totally random crime. Why does he deserve to be ever free again? Ever? And for him to come up for parole, I can't think of anybody that should think that he should be paroled and should be free again. No, he needs to stay in prison till the day he dies.
David Bond showed no emotion whatsoever. He made no admissions to the murder. He was a man who showed no remorse whatsoever. People tell me that there's good in everybody. I never saw any good in David Bond. He was, in my view, he was a very, very, very dangerous man.
After the event, Ron and I became much closer friends, and then we did socialise quite a lot. And Ron would confide in such a point, we'd have a long discussion, then suddenly it had all come back, and he'd say enough is enough, and he would have to stop. One can only imagine what he must have gone through. He was very brave, he handled it very well, but it was always there, underneath. He got that for the rest of his life, and that's the tragedy when these things happen.
I don't think Ron ever recovered from seeing his wife in that position. Who would? Such a traumatic event, he had to move on, and he certainly did. But the memory of that image, I would suggest, plus the fact that it was well known that they had a very, very strong loving relationship, would be difficult for him to dismiss. And I know that he carries heartache.
Vegetables as crisp as a winter's morning.
David loved this area, yes. I think that was part of the sorrow of it all, in a way, and it really made people who lived near feel as if somehow the beauty had been solid for a long time, that it had been something which not just killed Debbie, but damaged the whole place itself for a while. It's still referred to from time to time as, oh, that's where there was that murder. And that's sadly what happens with places. They kind of hold on to something that happens there, good or bad.
In a world of rising prices, new car Lawrence are two most popular SUVs. The
Just glad all that business with married is
The mages don't let us go into college. They said it's not safe in there.
Can I help you with that? Carmaya? Then she's finally found it. Do you have Gallus's journal? No problem. Let me see it. No, this is just like Gallus. A dear friend, but always too clever for his own good. He's written all of the text in the Falmer language.
Are you referring to
Remember when Dad?
No. However, I know someone who might. The court wizard of Markarth, Anselmo, may have the materials you need to get this journal translated. Word of warning, Anselmo is a fierce guardian of his research. Getting the information won't be easy. Anselmo is stuck.
That's how I remember.
Can I help you with anything else?
Yeah, always smiling. That's lovely. You look very in love. Not told you where. This is the metal that my dad got up after he'd been out to Newcastle. And started to make his way home. But never made it. This night, I come home. And Robin wasn't there. And well, where on earth could he be?
About 20 yards behind Robin.
What are you hiding, priest? I'm not hiding anything. It's closed for a
Looked as if
reason.
they were following from underneath the underpass.
First, you take away towns.
Me
Now you're
check out
keeping us
over
from
here
seeing
and I
our
can
honored
remember
dead.
them being in and can remember
Jarl
seeing
will
that
answer
they had some
any
blood staining
desecration
on his
of my
clothing.
ancestors' bodies. That's enough,
Within
Doctor.
15 minutes, they're spending the money from a man they just murdered and robbed.
We're total strangers.
What are you doing here? The excavation site is closed. I don't need any more workers or guards.
I shouldn't even have gotten off at that train station.
I told you I'm not hiring any more guards. Why do you people always bother me when I'm trying to finish my research? You idiot! Do you even know who I am? The most recognized scholar and a Dwemer in all of Tamriel. You people keep bothering me. I'm sorry, I got too excited. I'm in the middle of some very stressful work, and I shouldn't have yelled. How can I help you? Then you were well informed. I am at this very moment on the cusp of completing my magnum opus on the subject. I'm calling it Anselmo's Guide to the Falmer Tongue. It will revolutionize the way we understand those ancient beings.
I was at the flat where there was an electrician.
Preposterous. That research represents years of personal toil in some of the most dangerous Dwemer ruins in Skyrim. You must be mad to think I'd allow anyone to see it before it's completed.
His suit on, his tie on, and just dead handsome, just gorgeous.
I'm not certain how many scholars you're accustomed to dealing with, but I can assure you that personal wealth is our lowest priority.
In case Matty gives the money and I says, right, I'll see you later. He went back to work after morning.
While I appreciate the sentiment, I still have to decline. Being an admirer, do you realize that at a snap of my fingers, I can bring the entire Markarth city guard to my defense? You best rethink this course of action, or you may find yourself on the exit. Very well. Perhaps when my research is complete, I'll feel more comfortable discussing my findings with you. This better be important. Oh, be certain to purchase my Falmer translation.
And they used to do them quite regular.
You're here to see the Jarl.
I went down really well.
Understand?
And like I say, it was a good night. Dad had gone out quite late. I think it was maybe 9 o'clock. You know, just at the last
Warren
minute
City
thing.
underneath the keep.
Because his friend had called him up.
This better be important.
This night,
Now stand aside. There's work to be done.
and Robin was there. And I thought he he might have been in bed. You know, he was not in the room, so I thought, oh, he must be in bed. And I put the television on. I did shout at him. I thought, oh, well, he's either not answering or might not be. Went up and he wasn't in bed. I thought, strange. For him not to be home. Thinking, well, where on earth could he be? I come back in the living room, noticed that there was a message on the answer machine on the phone. So I played the message, and it was his friend asking him if he wanted to go out for a couple of pints. So he'd obviously gone out.
Hold. The Women Museum isn't open to anyone without the court wizard's permission.
And he said, no. Should be home now, definitely. He said he's definitely coming home.
Those Calcimo doesn't work. You have a problem with that? Go talk to him. You'll find him in front of the ruins during the day, just down the tunnel.
I rang Robin's phone. I said, Robin, a male voice. He says, no, it's not. No, it's not Robin or something like that. And I says, I'm sorry, I must have the wrong number. I thought maybe so. Okay, I don't know. I just was quite shocked.
Calcelmo called in his entire expedition team. Said he needed every man he could get to protect his race.
I ran up to my sister's house, who lived about 3 doors away from me, and she come down, and I was saying, I don't know where he is. I don't know. Something's happened. I feel like something's happened to him.
Just to see
I said, look, I'm gonna.
Not playing him around. When
I'm gonna walk up to the metro station.
Come on, let's get back to
I had it all on the way home. I put my coat on. I said, you stay here. I rang the police at that time.
It was around about 5 a.m. on the morning of the 24th of April. The wife of the victim, Angela Chard, had rang the control room to report that her husband, Robert Chard, had been missing from home. She said that it was out of character for Robert to be missing. You can imagine 47-year-old guy, no real reason to think anything suspicious at that particular stage.
I think the time was around about 6 o'clock-ish. I remember just getting late, and I thought, I'm going to have a walk along and see if I can find Robin. I remember walking up here, frantic, and just wondering where Robin was. So I walked up and just shouting to him, Robin! Robin! Then it's so good.
There's no way they don't hear that.
The 24th of April, 7:30 in the morning, the phone rang, and obviously woke me up. And straight away, I thought, that's unusual. I went to the phone, and Mum said, Joanne, I don't mean to worry, but is your dad there?
Stay calm.
And as soon as she said that, I knew something was really wrong. And I said, no, what's wrong? What's the matter? She went, you didn't come home. I said, right, I'm coming over. I got into the house, started asking Mum questions. If he was getting the metro, which he would do, he'd walk down what we call the Black Path. I said, I'd be up at the Black Path.
That's what I know.
He's not there. I just had this picture in my mind of where, like, with some wasteland.
That goes in my museum.
And I thought, he might be there. I don't know why. So I went there, and I was actually looking for him. Beaten up. That's what I thought had happened. But I thought I'd find him alive.
Around about 8 a.m. on the morning of Saturday the 24th of April, the control room in Northumbria Police received a telephone call from a gentleman. He had came across a body in a ditched area near to where the missing person lived. When uniformed officers attended, they initially found that the male had some clothing missing. and they could also see blood staining around the hip area, and the guy's shirt had been pulled up, and there were some marks on his back. And to all intents and purposes, it looked as if the death was suspicious from that stage.
The next thing I remember was a bit of a blue. I just remember being outside in the street and the aunt moved a few doors over. I think she held me in the arms and said, Joanne, we found your dad's glasses on the black car.
Thanks for opening the door for me, idiot.
I just remember, like, I knew something was wrong. I just remember my name buckled and I sort of went down on the ground. There was an ambulance there. They were there for ages and I was like, why aren't they taking the hospital?
Another trap, most likely. These are dangerous. 3 of the guards died when the lower hall flooded with steam.
I wanted to know if it was anything or other. So my sister was that she went along first. And when she come back, she said to me that I was like a wild woman. My brother-in-law was standing there, Joe.
I probably should have went towards the marker. But I didn't give a fuck.
Big lad. And it was and I didn't get through. So until later, I sort of got the news. I was in Mum and Dad's bedroom with my brother. His wife was there. I just remember getting told he was dead. And his shirt was still hanging on his shirt was still hanging on the door.
It ain't steam, that's gas. Toxic gas. I think I got some into my bloodstream. Well, if I keel over and die, then...
His body.
Huh?
Fuck is my shield? I thought it was just like out of view or something. Calm down. There's a puzzle cube. I ain't opening that yet. Oh. Oh, I'm totally using that as a way to get out. Oh, that's gonna be my grand escape. It is beautiful up here. I've always loved Markarth, City of Stone. Wish it was just bigger. Actually, stop. Turn back around. Let's see something. In the cause. Oh. Well, that's cool, I like that. But in the cause, you go up like there. Or something. Like up there. climb up the mountain, I'm pretty sure. It leads into a cave that goes inside of a cliff, and inside there's the portal. But wow, it is beautiful. If I could live in any city, it would probably be Markarth. Only problem is like the Forsworn and like the corruption. But like, look at this. The rivers running through the city, stone everywhere, built into the mountains with the dwarven ruins everywhere. It's like up there, I'm pretty sure. What level am I? 26. I'm close. About like 13 away. Why is such a high level you gotta be to do it? Oh fuck. I feel like I'm gonna get ambushed. Look at that dude. Look at that dude. Don't mind the dog. Lots of paper written down. Bullshit. Are you working? We're gonna say he's working. We're not gonna fuck with him.
Have been trying to rob vehicles in and around the metro station. The teenagers have been picked up because of the element of robbery. So if they've been stealing from cars, would they be willing to steal from a man?
They were arrested, and to be honest, I was worried that it was them because being teenagers, they wouldn't have been punished properly. They wouldn't have been named, and I don't think they would have got them in prison.
As it turned out, they had nothing whatsoever to do with it. We very quickly eliminated them from the inquiry.
Huh. Kinda looks like Daedric.
Close association between the victim and the perpetrators. In a lot of the instances, they are family members, or they are friends and all the rest of it.
Grab some paper, bit of charcoal.
Try and find out where the people who've been closest to Robin on that particular night were, essentially. It might sound callous, but you've got to clear the ground under your feet first. To just basically say, where was Angela? Where were the children?
What a day.
Typically, when police will see any type of murder, they're looking for somebody who knows that victim. So, police will start with the most likely and work outwards. The last thing is thinking that a stranger committed a crime like this. That's probably the least likely thing, but it's also the thing that police are most afraid of because that means that anyone can be a suspect, and their investigation is that much harder.
I need to still find Grimmer Smear or whatever his name is. Okay. Time to make my great escape. Assassin's Creed style. Oh fuck. Wait a minute. Am I supposed to parkour my way down? Or am I supposed to fully jump? I'm gonna say I'm supposed to do this. That's what's intended. Well, something happened. Probably a Forsworn attack. Anyway, let's go. I'm not turn to that guy yet. Right now I'm gonna head home and put the spider control rod thing in the slot.
I didn't know how many people had been involved at that particular stage. But what I did know is whoever had done this was dangerous. It's fairly obvious as well.
I'll look it up once I find it. See if I can spell properly. Alright. Oh, my head hurts.
It wasn't surrounded by houses. There has committed this particular murder. There was nothing at all at this particular crime scene to suggest who had done it. But very quickly, the press were on scene, and by that it was the local press, mainly in the local TV stations.
We watched every single news report about Dad. We'd all sit around the telly every night, almost hoping for some news, even though we knew everything there was to know at that point. It still seemed like a nightmare, like that it can't be real. That it can't possibly be my dad we're talking about.
If my Faja was here, I'd have him do this job. But no, he's not. Sadly, I'm so lonely. I've heard nobody. I'm on my own.
The first thing we did was we sent officers to where Robert had been the night before.
They're like, Father, why have you been in dream? Why? Yep, there it is.
We had him going down the escalators, we had him boarding the train, then we track him coming out of Youth Metro Station. And his route would have taken him from Youth Metro Station down a footpath to an underpass. He would have walked across there to take the shortcut to his home address. He was found murdered not far from there. Fortunately for us, there was some cameras. The ones outside the Youth Metro Station actually were really poor. They were grainy, they were just really good. You could identify Robin but you couldn't really identify anything.
Grim Sever. Grim Sever.
And that proved to be dynamite, really important, because it showed Robin entering the underpass and walking through it.
Oh, okay. The Ruins Missile Cat. Okay, it's near Dogstar. Alright, it's,
As police are piecing together the CCTV footage, they see the moments where Robin Chart is still alive. Even for trained investigators watching this footage, they know what happens to Robin. They know how horrific and awful it must have been for him. They know ultimately what happened to him, and now they know they have to watch this. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. They have to see it all occurring in order to help solve this crime.
who has their map this slow? It's like, fuck.
If something goes wrong, you find a scapegoat. It's what you do. If you want to save on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Sorry about there. Okay. It's a magic trick. I do feel like Batman whenever I live down here. Settings. Display. I'm Batman. I live in the shadows. Justice. Forgot them.
Backtracked from that onto the metro system. That sounds as if it's an instantaneous thing that can be done immediately.
That's actually no, I didn't want it. Bruh. So what's Grim Sever even do? I don't think I've ever found this. I don't think I've ever found that before. I think that's a new thing for me. Bruh. Okay. Display.
I remember my Uncle Philip had really sort of taken on the role of, you know, looking after everybody, and we had a trip out to Asda.
Why is he look so non-textured? Spine.
We were confident we could probably identify the two.
Looks old. I think the game does. It looks low quality.
Producing those two images.
I don't know what any of this does.
Balancing that against the dangers to the public, obviously, of getting arrested. So what we did was we started to show the images in the police station to officers who police that particular area. And lo and behold, one of the officers that
Looks pretty good. Alright.
immediately recognised the two men. One was called Christopher Smith, and the other one was called Joseph Scrutiny.
Where's my cursor?
It was 9 days after Dad was found dead that they found the people that had killed him.
Christopher Smith was 24 and Joseph May was 27 at the time. That particular day, Friday the 23rd of April, prior to Robin's murder, they had been involved in antisocial behaviour.
What the hell?
There was one particular footage showed Christopher Smith and was trying to coax somebody into assault. He was making stabbing actions on the ground, and it's all caught on CCTV footage. Now bear in mind how Robin had died and his footmarks.
I'll come visit this another time.
This has to be very ominous and menacing for the police because they knew if somebody had potentially seen this, stopped him,